Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, I've been somewhat of a fan of the Fantastic Beasts franchise ever since Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It was a nice, fun, prequel to Harry Potter. We got to learn more about the wizarding world, which was great. I like Newt Scamander, and like I said, the story was just really fun. Uh, when they said, because the film was moderately successful, they were like, okay, we're going to actually make this into a trilogy. You'll get to see young Dumbledore and some other young witches and wizards as well. And I was like, cool. And then, of course, I forget exactly how long after, but they came out and said, well, we're no longer doing 3 movies. We're going to do 5 movies because there's just so much story to tell. And we all knew it was like, okay, you just want to make as much money as possible off of this. And I always thought that was a mistake, one, to stretch it out that long. But they made the second film, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, which I thought, it's not like a bad movie, but it's not like a good movie either. It's just kind of like there. It is. If you ever watch anime, they have filler episodes which just kind of push the story along but don't really add any substance. That's what that film was. And you could definitely feel that they were stretching the narrative and trying to reach 5 movies. Uh, but I remember leaving the theater, my first reaction was, you know, how good the third movie is will determine how good this movie ends up being upon a rewatch. And after seeing Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, it's still just kind of okay. With Secrets of Dumbledore, I think I gave it a 7 out of 10 over on the website. Go over there and check out the full review. But they kind of did a little retooling of the franchise with this film to make it, I don't want to say different, but a little faster and a little more focused on Dumbledore and Grindelwald as opposed to Newt, which I think was like a good idea. You still, let me just go ahead and get into it. You still get a little bit into it. So picking up from the Crimes of Grindelwald, I think it's like 5 or 6 years, something like that later. So Grindelwald, he's just been at Nuremberg with his crew, planning his next attempt in, taking over the wizarding world. Still has Credence with him. He still has Queenie with him, and Credence. His story in this, I just feel like, okay, in the first Fantastic Beasts film, you have Credence was this obscurial magic. He's like, I guess, close to 18 or something at that point. He's not used magic so long. He developed this, it's like a virus that attacks people and sooner or later is going to kill him. At the end of that movie, you thought he got killed and it was sad, but then you saw a little bit of his obscurial kind of floating away. And you're like, oh, he survived somehow. That's neat. And you can tell from that point, because Ezra Miller was becoming a big star, okay, we're going to make him the prime focus of this series. Is going to be like the fight for Ezra's soul. And so they bring him back in the second one, and he's like in a relationship with Nagini. And it's weird. He looks totally healthy. He survived. He's in Europe looking for his family because he knows he's a wizard. And he's just been on this search for a few years. So then he meets Grindelwald. He actually met Grindelwald in the first film, who really just wanted his power. Then he meets him again and ends up joining him at the end of that film, where Grindelwald tells him, your real name is Aurelius Dumbledore, and you are Dumbledore's younger brother. Now, many fans of the series, when they heard that, I was like, well, that's a weird twist. You have all this lore for the Dumbledores, and there is no third brother. It's just Albus, Aberforth, and their sister Ariana. So you want to throw in a fourth brother? And also, there's the fact that he's so much younger than Dumbledore. How could his dad even have another kid? Because their mother passed away, and their father was locked up in Azkaban for torturing some Muggle kids. So there's no way he could have had another son that many years apart from the others. But in this film, they kind of retcon that, in that when he actually manages to fight Dumbledore, He tells him, he's like, look, I don't know what Grindelwald told you, but I'm not your brother. But we do share blood. Because by this point, Dumbledore realizes that Credence slash Aurelius is actually his brother Aberforth's illegitimate son. Which, that is, like, that's actually great writing. And that should have been in the second film. Like, if Grindelwald had told him that you're a Dumbledore's nephew, your Aberforth abandoned you, so we should actually attack Aberforth, because then that would make Dumbledore upset. But of course, he's just still going after Dumbledore. But that's actually great writing, and I think that's thanks to Stephen Klove. He tried to figure out a way, how do we fix this, and he did a good job fixing it. He should have been writing on this franchise from the beginning. Like, I think J.K. Rowling got lucky with the first one. She probably had like a stroke of genius when she wrote that, and the writing's not perfect, but it's better. The second one, it definitely feels like she's trying to write a book and not a movie. Those are totally different things. You have to adapt a book into a movie. You can't just make a book a movie. But yeah, the writing on this film was a lot better, and I like that twist. But back with Aurelius slash Credence, he, like I said, he's healthy in the first movie, besides his Obscurial. He's healthy in the second movie, pretty much throughout the entire thing. In this movie, and I guess it's been a few years, he knows how to use a wand. He knows how to use magic. I guess Grindelwald taught him. And he looks pretty healthy for most of the film. Then all of a sudden, toward the end, he just looks sickly and dying. It comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, so now all of a sudden his Obscurial is killing him? Like, he hasn't shown signs of dying throughout any of these movies until now. And with all the things going on with Ezra Miller, it does look like Aurelius slash Credence, whatever. I should just pick one. I'm going to call him Aurelius. Looks like Aurelius will die off screen. And if they get a fourth and or fifth one, and I'll get into that later, he will not appear. He's done in the franchise. So for me, it's sad. It's not the best end for his story, but I guess it does make sense. So if they do get another film, I guess you'll see a painting of him at Aberforth's bar, which would be nice, because you don't really need Credence anymore. The franchise is really over that. But like I said, with him potentially dying off screen, they should have just killed him in the first one. But they weren't thinking all that through. I don't think the only plan, the only plan J.K. Rowling had was, we're going to eventually get to Dumbledore's duel with Grindelwald. But she didn't have the middle part filled in. She should have thought of this entire story first before moving forward. They pretty much made that first movie and said, how can we stretch it out? But the actor who plays Aberforth, he's actually pretty good in the film. He's barely in it, though, which I don't think makes sense, since Aurelius is his son. He should have been in the film a lot more. His name is Richard Coyle. Him and his brother have a tenuous relationship at best. You can tell, like, there's hurt there from what happened with their family and their sister, and all that. So I wish he were in the film more. Moving forward, he needs to come back, and like I said, if they make more films, he needs to come back and play a bigger role, because I like the relationship between him and his brother. And in the Harry Potter films, their relationship is still tenuous. Like, it hasn't healed. They're not like all better. So I think they need to do that more. Or he needs to actually find out his brother's spell actually did kill the sister. Something of that nature. But I want to see more of their relationship. I actually like that. And speaking of Albus, man, Jude Law is perfect in this role. Him as young Dumbledore could have led his own trilogy. It's great. He's interesting. He has style, charisma, all that. And I just really want to know more about young Dumbledore. And I feel like they kind of squandered it with this film series. And I'll get back into that. But yeah. And speaking of Grindelwald, as I've mentioned many times. So in the first film, it was Colin Farrell. He played Grindelwald technically. I can't remember the character's name. Let me find out. So Colin Farrell played Percival Graves. He was like a high-ranking Auror Eddie Mikkelsen. Uh, and the thing about Percival Graves that, first of all, I like Colin Farrell in that role. It was great. When you find out that he's actually Grindelwald, it is a great twist. But we never find out who Percival Graves really is. We know that Grindelwald was impersonating this person, and I was like, oh snap, he's a high-ranking Auror. We're going to get to see him in the sequel, but you don't see him in the sequel, so I was like, oh, well, maybe he died or something of that nature. But they never explain, like, who is this person he was impersonating. He didn't just make him up. So basically, like, in the entire first film, Grindelwald is Colin Farrell. And at the very end, he's Johnny Depp. In the entire second film, he is Johnny Depp. And Johnny Depp played Grindelwald as so eerie but well spoken. He could give a speech that would make you think, you know what? That guy is making a great point. I think he looks a little off, but he's not saying anything wrong. And so that was really enjoyable to see. But then all the abuse allegations came out about him from Amber Heard, and now they're still going through a trial because he said all that was not true. But unfortunately, WB had to let him go from the role, which was disappointing because I liked his role and I want to see where it would go. But they cast Mads Mikkelsen as the replacement for Gellert Grindelwald. And I was like, that's neat. And this is a magical movie, so you could explain it by saying he did like some magic plastic surgery or whatever to change his looks. They don't explain it in this film at all. And Mikkelsen has said, well, the whole world knows why I replaced him, so there's no point in putting it in the film. I get that. But I still think they should have did like some kind of magic explanation to why he looks different. But Mads Mikkelsen is great in the role. He's terrific. I miss Johnny Depp. Mads Mikkelsen is perfect. I'm not saying Johnny Depp wasn't perfect or Colin Farrell wasn't perfect, but he does a great job. He has charisma, spunk, spontaneity, all this he brings to the role, and the well-spokenness that just is like the perfect package. And he's not as pale as Johnny Depp made the character, but it has been years. You can chalk that up to like, all right, he's changed his style. But they did keep the heterochromia where he has the two different colored eyes, and it's not as noticeable in this film as it was in the last. Because in the last film, that bothered me so much how whitish blue his other eye was. It was like glowing almost, and it like just distracted me so much in the film. And this one is faint, but you know it's there. You know his eyes are two different colors. And I was like, I like that. He's keeping that aspect because Johnny Depp actually added that aspect to the character. And Mikkelsen is like, well, I am playing the same character. I should bring some things over while doing my own thing. But his chemistry with Jude Law, the relationship between Grindelwald and Dumbledore, was great to see on film. I really wanted to, get more of that, get more of their relationship and see exactly, you know, how their relationship was and how it's going to end. I just can't wait to see more of that in the series moving forward. They had this nice scene at the diner. They have this cool duel at the end, which is in like an alternate dimension. So there's that. And those are some of my highlights about the characters in this film. Moving on to the like secondary and tertiary characters. Eddie Redmayne is back as Newt Scamander. He, is the Fantastic Beasts of the series. He handles the animals, and he's fine. He's fine. Callum Turner is back as his brother Theseus Scamander, also fine. They're going on this really cool mission where they have to basically confuse, because Grindelwald gets baby kills it. It allows him to see the future. Somehow they don't really explain it. Magic. And they have to create a plan that will confuse Grindelwald so that the future is always changing. And I like that aspect. It's another way to say we really had to write a script that doesn't make sense, but let's make it make sense. And I think that is like a genius writing tool. But like I said, Eddie Redmayne and Callum Turner are great as the Scamander brothers. Katherine Waterston as Tina Goldstein. She's in the film for probably a maximum of 3 minutes. She is definitely, I don't know what happened, but I like that. A lot of people didn't like that, and they think it's because she spoke out against J.K. Rowling. That may be true, but she also had a baby, so that could have limited her scheduling to film. And also, why does she have to be there? I get that, she's in love with Newt and they're going to end up getting married, but she doesn't have to be on this adventure. She doesn't have to. Like, she can be busy. That is possible. It's not always that everybody should be free. And they bring in Alison Sudol as no, I'm sorry, that's Queenie. Alison Sudol is Queenie. Uh, they bring in Jessica Williams as Lally Hicks, and she's a teacher from Ilvermorny, and she's friends with Tina Goldstein. And so she basically says, "Hey, I'm too busy. You go do this for me," and she's great. And in a series that's lacking black witches and wizards, wow, it was great seeing her. She was just great in the role. I want her back if they make more movies. And if they make separate movies, I like what the Wizarding in America. That really interests me. Like, I want to know more about that. Like, what did we have any dark wizards crop up? Like, what is going on over here? That's what WB needs to invest in, whether it's a show or a movie or something. Because yeah, that was great. William Nadilam, I think, as Yusuf Kama. He's back. They didn't really need to bring him back. He doesn't really do much for the film. I get it, kind of ties it into the second one. They had to do that somehow, not completely make it seem like a soft reboot, but yeah, he was fine in the role. Um, who else pops out? Oh, the main man, Dan Fogler, Jacob Kowalski, always brings the heart and the human element to this film. His chemistry with Dumbledore was actually great. I loved it. If they make, since he marries Queenie Goldstein at the end of this film, if they make any American films, the main character should be his descendant. I'm saying that now. The main character of any American Wizarding World films in the modern day should be Kowalski's, and that'd be great. Find somebody to play the kid, make it like a Stranger Things type vibe. I would love it. I should pitch that to Disney myself. It's amazing. But like I said, this movie is pretty enjoyable. It's like they're getting on track. It's a little late, but they're getting on track. Uh, the spells are better, I guess, than the last film, but we're still nowhere near like this amazing magic battle, like the battle that Dumbledore had with Voldemort in the Order of the Phoenix. I think that's what the film was. We need more magic like that, where they're doing all these crazy, magnificent, beautiful looking spells and attacking each other. I want it to look like an anime film. Like when we finally get to that final battle with Grindelwald and Dumbledore, it needs to be like a 30-minute long duel, kind of like the Anakin versus Obi-Wan lightsaber fight. That's what we need. And like I said, okay, speaking of these films, and they wanted to stretch it out to 5. After seeing this movie, I do think, hey, if you want to end it early, you can, but it should be at least 4 films. They should make one more film. You need to have a little bit of a time skip so you can hurry up and get to the final battle with Grindelwald and Dumbledore. And I think that would be the best way to end the series, because if they don't want to invest in 2 more complete movies, just make one more. You can drop the budget a little bit and pretty much make the entire plot. We have to find Grindelwald and stop him. And you can bring back some faces if you want, or you can just pretty much make it just, all right, it's Newt and Dumbledore. And yeah. But if they still want to make 2, you make a long last movie cut into 2 parts like they did with the final Harry Potter film. But you have to make both parts interesting. And that would be my ideal way to end this franchise. And like I said, it's an enjoyable film. I don't want it to be done with this third one, because I think I need the closure. And if they wanted to end it with just like a solo, another thing I thought, okay, after Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, it should have just been like The Wizarding World presents The Crimes of Grindelwald. The Wizarding World presents The Secrets of Dumbledore. Or no explicative title, just The Crimes of Grindelwald, The Secrets of Dumbledore, The Final Battle, which probably should be the third one or whatever, or The Wizarding War. Something like that. And we don't need Fantastic Beasts. It was a fine one-off, because these films have less and less to do with Fantastic Beasts. It's not like Harry Potter is the main focus of the Harry Potter franchise. That's why it's called Harry Potter. This, it starts out with Newt Scamander and his Fantastic Beasts, but after that, they aren't really the focus anymore. It's getting toward Dumbledore and Grindelwald. So that, I mean, those are just my thoughts. Anything else I thought about this series? Oh, yeah, since we're getting close to where Dumbledore finds the young Tom Riddle, I think they should go ahead, if they're going to move forward, cast the Tom Riddle that they're going to put in this movie. Give him like a small cameo role where he's somewhat interested in Grindelwald, show a little bit of that darkness, but, still make him himself. Jude Law will need to grow his hair out because when they did that flashback in the Half-Blood Prince, Dumbledore had long hair. So they should really grow out his hair, put a little bit of gray in there, and grow out his beard just a little bit. And man, Dumbledore has style in this movie. Those those 3-piece suits he wears, man, I'm telling you, they're killing it. Jude Law is great in this role. It'd be a shame if they not give him like a whole movie where he can shine. What else? What else? I don't think I actually got to mention the plot, which I thought was pretty funny. So, Grindelwald committed all these crimes in the previous films, and in this film, they're like, we don't have evidence. Let's exonerate him because he's got a lot of backers on his side now. We just kind of want to keep the people complacent. That was hilarious to me. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have like proof? He literally escaped prison in the last film. Like, I mean, he didn't, like, in the Crimes of Grindelwald, he never broke any laws in Europe, but he broke laws in America. Like, you have some crime you can like get him on, and that was why. And then immediately, like, well, you know, he's free. Let's go ahead and start inviting him to all these high classy events and let him run for basically like president or pope or whatever, like the head of the wizarding world. It's crazy, and they have like no checks and balances on that process. With the whole like the killing will bow to somebody who's worthy. And like he basically kills the killing and uses a necromancer to bring it back alive so it'll listen to him. And it's like, did nobody check this killing? To like their checks and balances are so off. And one thing I didn't like. So when the blood pact is broken, because the blood pact between Grindelwald and Dumbledore is broken when their spells meet, they have like this final battle, and it's like sequestered in another dimension. That was off to me. I think people should have saw them have a fight, and that would have made for a better ending to that situation. And another thing, speaking of magic, Dumbledore is so powerful. Like that duel he has where he just pretty much mops the floor with Credence. Sorry, Aurelius. Whatever. And like he takes them into another dimension like by using snow and mirrors. It's wild. Like I need more of that when we finally get to that final battle in 1945. But yeah, man, overall I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film and I want to see more from this universe, whether it's called Fantastic Beasts or not. I really want to see the final battle between Grindelwald and Dumbledore, and let's just see what they can do. I mean, this you can mine this series, this franchise, whatever you want to call it, for a lot of stuff, just like they've been mining Marvel and Star Wars and all these other places. This is the one for WB after DC, I really think. But that is it for me, guys. Remember, you can view this spoiler review on YouTube and the blog, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, everybody, hey, come here, listen. Make sure that you subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, everything. Make sure you like, comment, and share. The next Let's Talk Spoilers will be Moon Knight. I've been really enjoying this show. Can't wait to see how it wraps up. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.